Okay, we are back, and for this one I want to mess around with this randomizer X8 MIDI a little bit more. Quick explanation, so the top right squares, these cause it so when these are on and you send a MIDI note into this device, it fires off a random note. You can see that occurring down on these bottom ones. If this bottom left box is on, instead you can use the transport here to control the note to fire off a random note to whatever time you've set here. So D is for dotted, T is for triplet. You can go super crazy fast, or you can go pretty slow, 8 bars. You can also have them both going at the same time, which can be a little crazy. You have a smooth right down here set to milliseconds and causes like a ramp every time there's a random shift. So right now I have this grain delay mapped to the dry wet. Let's go ahead and do a bunch more mappings here. And this one isn't set for anything to be on, so I'm going to set it so the MIDI note in is on, firing off random notes. And let's add a bit of smooth there so we can see this kind of... Things get really crazy fast once you start automating the pitch on a grain delay. And the reason why I've grouped out this grain delay here is because the wet-dry for this natively causes clicks when you automate it. So I like to use a rack with these chains with some curves there. I think that makes a much smoother wet and dry. So anyway, let's go ahead and map some other things. And in here I've got this sound that we've recorded. I want to go ahead and bring that sound in and get some of these other sections of it. Let's turn on our note generator. Get some low, deep notes going there. Let me turn this one down a little bit so we can hear the other one. Now I want to record some of the output of this back into the tool. So what I'm going to do is, and this is only if you're using Ableton 9, do you need to use the light version really, and this send back into it. So now if I hit record here, we're going to get some of the output of the Concret tool back into the Concret tool, which is... We could also use this here, but it doesn't pick up the effects that we've put in line after the Concret tool, so let's do C5 on that. Okay. Now let's open this up, and what I want to do is I want to group the start point on this one. We've done this in the past, but I think it's worth repeating. It's a really good technique. If I choose map here, we can click on this and choose map here. So now if I move this knob, you can see it moves that start point, and we can map one of these randomizers to it, although 3 and 4 we can see are not turned on at all. So let's turn this on so the MIDI note in changes. Adds randomness to this device here. So one thing you can do is, since the Concret tool takes MIDI notes in, you can just send a really high note, and as long as it's outside of the range of any of the filters inside of here, so this only goes up to B4, then the notes will just trigger the randomizer. So now this is jumping, and every time this changes here, I've automated these so that it will fire off a note every time we get a shift here to a different note. It sounds like we're also getting this sign here. Let's try to record in here one more time. There we go. Let's go ahead and save this as so B, and then hit the save button again and just drag it in. And let's automate this also. We could actually, one thing I want to try, instead of automating that, let's open this up. Let's turn on map here, and I want to map this note to this. And let's turn off our note generator here. And so I want to map this to here. So that is number 5. There we go. So it's just going to fire a random, every time the note from this clip comes into our randomizer device. In fact, I could also maybe just turn this off and change it to, so every one bar it's going to shift. And the wet and dry on this is a little heavy, so let's turn that down. And I'm going to add this crap cassette because I just love the texture that it brings. Let's turn this off, save some CPU. This one out of the gate, a bit noisy. And in fact, let me record the output of this back into the Concrete tool. So let's hit record. Get some of that hiss. As you can hear, things are getting really weird. Let's go ahead and save this, just so, let's see, SK18C. And then hit save again, drag it in, and as long as it reads out the file name there, you're good to go. So let's see to that. Alright, so pretty experimental and weird sounding. I think for this sketch, pretty much good to go, I think. I might mess around with this a little bit more after, so be sure and load this up and have a listen and check out kind of some of the things going on in there. And until next time, enjoy.